Hello, Aries. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Aries is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. And if there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Aries, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with our Queen of Cups. First card of the day, called Station. This is kind of what we're dealing with. This is in a way, it's our general energy. This is how we experience ourselves. This is our subjective experience of the world right now. And this Queen of Cups is all about endings, right? All of the queens of the tarot are looking at the past, trying to understand and process the ending of something. Now, this is a card or an energy or type of person that deals with endings, in this particular case anyway, not all the time, is dealing with an ending in a very slow way, okay? Kind of peeling the Band-Aid off very carefully, right? And feeling every little hair being pulled, you know? It's an emotional ending. It's an ending. I always look at the queens of the tarot as it's a group of ladies leaving a movie theater, and they're all experiencing that act of watching the movie and leaving the movie. They're all experiencing it in a different way. The Queen of Wands, the movie's over, out of sight, out of mind. All right, what's for lunch? But the Queen of Cups is taking their time, feeling all the feelings, not hiding from any emotion, understanding the ups and downs and how it changed me and how I felt about it. And this is somebody that might be feeling those feelings for days afterwards. Or weeks. You ever have that experience? Something that you watch or you witness that stays with you for a long, long time? That's what I'm feeling here for you. I feel like something in your life has ended, and we are still processing those emotions. We're still trying to understand how that situation changed us, how we feel about it, the good and the bad, the ups and the downs of it. Okay? You're somebody with a lot of emotion right now. You're a very sensitive person. I think you're lifting the veil of your own heart and you're understanding what that situation meant to you. Perhaps we're working on releasing it, processing all of that so that we can move on. See, that's the thing about the queens, is that they're processing an ending because they're getting ready for a beginning. Okay, whereas the knights of the tarot, right? The knights are all about the beginnings. How we begin things. This is how we end things. So these cards are the turning points. I think you're in the middle of a turning point right now. We need a little bit of context for this one and see what has ended and what will be beginning and what is the sort of the obstacle in your path right now. Okay, well, first we have the Queen of Cups. We have the Empress. We have the Seven of Swords. We have a Two of Swords, a Ten of Swords, and a Libra energy. A lot of air. You're surrounded by I think you're surrounded by a lot of people, a lot of support. I think that you're also trying to use, I think you're somebody that uses your mind to sort of protect your heart, right? And, I think that we're sort of, in a way, maybe we're trying not to overly intellectualize our emotions right now. We're trying to just sit with them and feel them, and that's what the Empress, I think, is here to kind of show. Let's not intellectualize with all this air energy, right? How we're feeling right now. Let's just feel it. Here we have the Hierophant. We have a Nine of Pentacles. Oh, we got a double shot. Look at that. We have a Prince and the Knight of Pentacles, and finally we have the Ace of Pentacles. So we are moving on to a very lucrative path next, okay? What you're turning into, or what you are facing, what you're turning toward, right? What's beginning in your life is going to be very, very good, very successful, very lucrative. I wonder if this is not so much the ending of a relationship, a romantic thing. I feel like this is the ending of either a project that we were very closely involved with, or it is maybe the ending of kind of a business thing, a collaboration. Maybe it's the ending of a career or of a particular life path. Okay, I don't really think it's all about your relationship with another person and that's it. But there are other people there. Okay, I don't know that it's of a romantic nature. It probably is more of a business or professional or even. I guess I could even maybe feel like it could be a family thing. Okay, let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown, and we're going to set it down over here. No, not with Tiny Bob Ross. That was last week's guardian of the mystery card. I think today, what should we use today? I think I would like to go with, let's go with Bubo, the mechanical owl, right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading, okay? If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your predictions in the comments down below. Okay. Now, as we look around the room, we do see 1, 2, 3 major arcana energies. Okay. We see the Empress, we see the Adjustment card, and we see now the Hierophant. Okay. The Hierophant in this position is a very good position because this is your general energy or your persona or the objective assessment of yourself. Okay. This is subjective. This is kind of what you're feeling, and this is what you're projecting toward other people, what other people see. Okay. We don't have any fire right now. We have an implication of fire here with the Knight of Pentacles because the Knights are all about the cardinal zodiac sign. This is cardinal Earth. This is a Capricorn energy. So we're starting to kind of rev the engines a little bit, right? We're at the starting line of something here. A little bit of fire creeping in, which is good. We've got our water in these two with the Prince and the Queen. We have air, 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 earth, earth, and earth. Okay. So I feel like right now we're kind of, we feel very sensitive. I think that we are, we're trying to understand the past so that we can make whatever changes or alterations or little tweaks that we need in order to move forward in a more successful way. We're kind of learning from our past decisions. We're dealing with an ending here that's very emotional. I think we're really trying to let those feelings sink in. We're trying to understand, it's like we left that movie and we're trying to really absorb all the feelings, how that movie made me feel, what were the ups and downs, how did it change me, how am I affected, right? How am I affected by that movie, by that experience, by this phase, this period of time that we have been through, the choices that we made, okay? And I think that the Empress here is position 2. It's the battlefield, and this is really what our quest is right now. What we're being advised to do. What's the challenge here? And to me, the Empress is saying that we have to process these emotions because that emotion, that spiritual water energy, is what is feeding the growth of something. Okay, so it's kind of. To me, it feels like we don't want to deny how we feel right now. You might be a person that tends toward the emotions. Well, they're an unfortunate side effect of things sometimes. We need to keep them in the background. And I feel like that's a mistake right now. I feel like what you're doing is you're trying to lift the veil of your feelings. You're trying to feel how you feel because that's going to determine your next move. And Spirit's saying that, the only way forward here is for you to kind of... is for you to irrigate the soil, right, with that water energy. It's kind of like your lawn. The more it rains, the more it grows, right? Get a good rainstorm, you go outside the next morning, your lawn's like 2 feet tall. Like, what the heck happened? And that's kind of what's going on with this energy. I think if we're able to process those feelings, then as we turn toward the future and we get a more objective view of our lives, I think we'll be we'll understand in a very deeper way what it is we want and how to get what we want, how to get to our best life, how to get our destiny. Okay, how to unfold our future here. And the Empress, I think, is also indicating that we need the self-care. We need to spend time to really kind of feel what's going on. Maybe this means that you're taking time to yourself, that you're taking as, when you leave the movie theater, right, and the Queen of Cups is feeling all those emotions of the movie, their friends might be saying, just get over it, let's go have lunch, let's go see a different movie, let's go do something else, And the Queen of Cups is saying, no, I need to process this. As silly as it might sound to some of your friends, it's like, no, I need to process what's going on here. Because that self-awareness, that radical self-love, radical self-acceptance is going to give you precisely the confidence, the peace, the inner peace and calm that you need to make the right choices about what's next for you. Okay? So the Empress is a card of self-love. The Empress is a card that says, you know what, I'm going to feel these emotions. I'm going to feel my feelings right now because those feelings, those emotions are sort of fertilizing and irrigating and watering the soil. And out of that soil, so much abundance is going to grow. As we see on the path of the serpent, it's all this beautiful earth energy. Even the Taurus energy, the Hierophant, is earth. Earth, earth, and earth. We got a double shot here of earth and water. So this is also kind of, this is showing the real method. It's sort of an expansion on what we're talking about with the battlefield card. So let's talk about that really quick. This is water to earth. And this is saying that processing your feelings right now, lifting the veil, doing the Queen of Wands / Empress work, is allowing you to tap into that authenticity, that you know who you are, you know why you're here, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. You're very in touch with yourself. The Prince of Cups is the authentic card. This is the person who's trying to live an authentic life, trying to be myself, trying to know what I feel deep in my soul, and I'm trying to honor that. Okay? And I think that with this authenticity, you're able to see a new future for yourself and begin that future. You're able to see the vision of your future life. The knight, right, is ready to begin the path, ready to pursue. What is the knight looking at? The 10 of Pentacles. Okay, so it's with that authenticity that's gained through feeling how we feel, processing the endings as long as we need to, taking our time, not feeling rushed. And then we gain such a depth of insight into who we are and why we're here and what we want and all that stuff, that we really are motivated, and we're fired up, and we're equipped, and we're capable, we're emotionally ready to kick some butt going forward, So I like this, and I think that the Empress as the battlefield really is important here, because it's saying allow yourself enough time to process how you're feeling. I do feel like you tend to keep the emotions out a little bit. You do something like, you say the alphabet backwards or something, right? To kind of like, to pull yourself out of a feeling, to kind of focus your mind away from your emotions. Right now, the task in front of you is to not be so quick to run to any of these air cards, but to sit. You see how both the queens here are sitting down, feeling how they're feeling. And I think also that, processing the feelings that you're experiencing now, the good and the bad, right? The ups and the downs of whatever the ending was, is giving you such a empowerment, such a maturity. This feels really, really strong, really powerful. This is someone who's now ready, has accepted life, is processed, and is stronger for having processed that water energy, right? The rain makes the grass grow, basically, right? Underneath the surface, we have the 7 of Swords. This is the position of the soul. This is something that's whispering inside of you. And it might be this, maybe like a commitment, right? 7 of Swords is a card of futility. And to me, what it means in your case is that you're kind of on this central sword path, that Ace of Swords right there in the middle. That's you with your mind focused on your goals. I'm concentrated, right? But we have all these other little swords that are poking at you, trying to poke holes in your plans, trying to poke holes in your confidence, right? So I feel like right now it's you're very goal-oriented. And so with that obviously comes with you, I think, a tendency to push the feelings away and say, no, I gotta stay straight in line. I gotta stay focused on my goal. I don't have time for feelings. I think we're learning that processing the feelings are a very important part of the journey. Okay? And so this card is kind of saying, like, don't let yourself be distracted right now away from your feelings. I know that's kind of counterintuitive. We almost say, well, I need to distract myself from my feelings. No. Right now there are a lot of things your mind is trying to search for any old thing that it can do in order to prevent you from feeling your feelings. Okay? And I think that this is that card of distractions. Okay, we're trying to stay focused on this central idea, or this central, the focus, the path, the work right now. And we're trying to focus on the clarity, and I think in order to get that clarity, we have to feel these feelings. We have to process the ending of whatever has ended in your life, rather than distracting ourselves mentally with anything else. Sometimes I don't want to feel my feelings, so I just start scrolling the internet, start swiping, and that distracts us from what's really going on. So we're trying not to do that. Okay. And I think that we are also we're not letting anybody around us. I do think there seems to be a group of people around for something. There's a group of people involved in this with you, because we do have 1, 2, 3 court cards, right? As well as some other people of very high stature. So I think that there is, it's kind of a group thing, whether it's family, maybe it's something at work. And there's something that has taken place already. And that's what you're processing, your feelings of that situation. The 7 of Swords is kind of saying, don't let anybody rush you through this process. Okay, that this is very important for you to get in touch with those emotions. Maybe you consider yourself a rather unemotional person. Because, honestly, we don't see a lot of water here in the reading at all. We're heavy on the air, and the earth. Even with more air here in the major arcana, right? And more earth and air, right? Libra, air, Taurus, earth. So there's really a lot of air and earth. And then we just have a couple of water cards that are sticking out. One's even in the position of the obstacle. So you may be somebody that tends to overlook the emotions as a kind of an unfortunate side effect of what I really want to do in life, And I think we're being told to, let's sit with that. We know that the Empress is kind of a water/earth card, okay? And to me right now, it really is saying that, look, if we go forward right now without processing our emotions, we're not going to make the right choices. Okay, because we're not going to really know how we felt about the transition from the past now to the future, from an ending to a beginning. We're not going to understand ourselves all that thoroughly. And so we're going to end up making choices that maybe won't fulfill us again. Maybe this is what's going on here. Path or position, station 4, okay, is the dwarf position, represents what was in the past, represents something that's still affecting us now, and this was a decision. It's a 2 of Swords, right? And it may be that the ending or the emotional event that we're processing right now, we may feel as if we made a choice back in the day, let's say last few months. We made a choice that now has not worked out. It's obviously there's an ending, right? So it's a result of a choice that we made. We picked this thing over that thing. And that's why we're here now having to process our emotions. And well, that's the 10 of Swords. Let's just, make sure we take that into account. Because this was saying that, hey, I made a choice. I thought there would be a gold mine there. I thought there would be fulfillment. I thought there would be nourishment. I thought I would find like a 10 of Cups or a 10 of Pentacles. Nope, it's a dry hole. So we feel like maybe we made the wrong choice, and that's why we're feeling this. And of course, we have to process that ending. This is the Ten of Swords, it's an ending, okay? And I think that, that's what we're processing, but maybe you're feeling like it was your choice that led to this ending, okay? And the ending doesn't necessarily mean that this was an unwanted ending or that it's a bad ending. What it just means is that this situation is no longer fulfilling to you. That something isn't doing anything for you. There's nothing more to get out of that situation, and so that situation is coming to a close, and we're getting ready to move on to the next phase of our lives, the next step forward on our path. But we're sort of looking at the choices that we made, and I think that the important message of this card might be a little subtle. But there are two swords, so it's kind of like saying I could have chose that or that. So maybe you're kind of looking at this past and you're thinking, I should have chose the other path. But I think what this card is really suggesting is that that was a false dichotomy. That was a choice that was, neither of those choices would have worked out better than the other. Because what was missing from this choice was the intuition. What was missing from this choice was the true deeper feelings. Maybe we thought we wanted one of these paths. We chose one. Turns out it's a dry hole now. Maybe it was fun for a while or whatever. It's a dry hole now. And so we're thinking, I should have chose the other one. Darn it. But I think the subtle message is that the other one would have ended up as a dry hole anyway. If we're not in touch with our feelings, because see, we see the little hidden crescent moon at the top of that card, right? And it's kind of saying that we need to follow our intuition, that there's a subtle, smaller third option here, and that's the way of the intuition at the top. We don't see that. We see these two big choices, left or right, one or two, okay? We don't see that there's a transcendent third. Of course, we can't see because we're looking at it with our intellectual mind. We look at this card and we think there's a choice. I gotta decide between this or this. Maybe there's more, maybe there's like 10 choices, I don't know. But the subtle, emotional, intuitive choice is very often hidden from us. And I think that's the message here. That either, whatever choice you would have made back then was gonna end up the same way. So it happens for a reason. You could have chosen left, you could have chosen right, you would have ended up here, right now, processing the feelings of the ending. And that's what really is important now, is that because this is teaching you how you feel about things. So don't look at the past too much and think, I should have chose the other path. No, try to look at it as, okay, what am I learning from this path and from this choice? And what am I learning about my feelings? About what that emotional body is telling me. The Queen of Cups is very often veiled, okay? It means that we don't always know how we feel, and that's what we're trying to do now, is lift the veil of our own emotions so that we can make a kind of a new choice, a different choice, moving forward into the future, okay? So the Ten of Swords is the giant, and that's the big looming presence. It's kind of the reading in a nutshell. And the Ten of Swords is a card of endings. It's a card that says, I had these plans, and now I'm at the end of that road. For good, for better or for worse, I'm at the end of a road, okay? And the end of a road means that, what does it mean? Well, it means a new road's beginning, right? Every door that closes is a door that opens. Every exit is an entrance into a new place. You know, it's just the way it works. There's no way around that. So the end, every 10 is just a return to unity. You're in that state of trying to find that unity right now before we begin the next phase, okay? And so, the 10 is just a 1 with a 0 behind it, right? And then a 1 begins. Of course, we have the ace over here too. So it really is, I think, everything is working out the way it's supposed to. And that's something that hopefully will give us a little bit of comfort and peace as we process how we feel. Now, the Ten of Swords is also the birdcage card, right? We don't want to be locked up and stuck inside of this past, inside of this feeling. We don't want to be stuck at the end of the road. And we just kind of sit down on a stump at the end of a road and say, now what? And we linger here. There's nothing here. There's no food. There's no water. You don't want to stay here. Okay, it's a desiccated thing. This is just the bones of something. There's no meat on the bones anymore. I think that that this is giving us the permission to say, I can leave this behind me. I don't need to take this with me. I don't need to stay here and kind of set up camp right next to this. These are the remains of something, okay? Not literally, I don't think. But it's it's the dry bones of something that we need to leave in the past. But it's okay that we're sitting here and we're feeling how we feel. In fact, we need to sit here and feel how we feel for as long as we need to, until we don't feel as if, see, this is that dry hole energy, right? So we don't need to linger here and wallow in these emotions longer than is necessary. And so it's kind of like we are processing all of the emotions until there's nothing left to process. So it's, if we stay too long in this in-between state, this return to unity, if we stay here too long, it feels as if there's like diminishing returns, you know? It feels like we're gonna start being kind of worse off. Right now, I feel like we're drawing all the emotional energy out of this situation that we can. And then once we've collected it all and we can process it, then we move on. If we stay here too long, I feel like this is going to start taking our emotions back, taking our spiritual energy back, right? And I think that is something that happens when we linger too long at the end of a road. Okay, I think that we create, in a way, we kind of create zombies or ghosts or those, kinds of things. Not literally now, I'm trying to scare anybody. It's not Halloween time. We're in summer, right? We need light and we need warmth and we need company. Yeah. So we don't linger here too long. Anyway, that's the point. But the birdcage card is kind of us freeing ourselves from a limiting situation. Freeing ourselves from what can imprison us. We don't want to feel imprisoned by our thoughts, for one thing, and we kind of look at it that way. We see all the air energy that's surrounding you. The way out is through your emotions. Okay? The way out is through the feelings, kind of tunneling underground here. Because otherwise, it seems like our mind can sometimes lock us in. Or our mind can make us feel like we're stuck somewhere. We're stuck in this very emotional ending of the road, and we don't know how to get out of there. So the way we get out of there, I think, is by embracing, accepting, loving ourselves, connecting with the people that are in our lives, and focusing on love and nourishment and togetherness and moving forward. We're sort of tunneling from here to over here. And those emotions are now being applied to, we're kind of recognizing our authenticity and we're moving forward. Okay. The Ten of Swords is also a card where every sword is aimed toward this kind of central, I kind of feel like it's almost aimed at that heart. But all the tips of the swords are broken. So this is kind of like, it's pointless. There's nothing here. It's just like you go to a garage sale, you see a bunch of tools. You say, all right, a bunch of tools. You go, every tool's broken. There'd be no point in buying those tools. I mean, unless you're really good at fixing things, but generally speaking, it's a bunch of broken stuff. I don't need to take it home. I don't need to put it in my car, right? It's preventing me from going to the next garage sale and finding the treasures that I'm after. We love garage sailing at our house. Anyway, this is something that is no longer feeding us in any way. It's no longer doing anything positive for us. If we linger too long, I think we sort of create the ghosts, right, of the past here. Moving forward, though, into position 6, the Imago, the Libra energy, the adjustment card. Usually this is a very intellectual card. It's higher wisdom and discernment. Okay, doesn't feel very emotional, feels very professional. Feels very handshake, contract, legal, But as the higher wisdom and discernment, I think that this is now us restoring the balance in our lives because we're processing our emotions, that we're able to make more balanced, more equilibrated choices. Because now we're using our intellect, of course, you can't get rid of that, but now we're incorporating the feelings too, the deeper intuition. The thoughts and the feelings working together maybe are creating the intuition, are allowing you to tap into that higher wisdom and discernment, and we know how we need to choose differently next time. Because maybe the Two of Swords is saying, I went left, well, I guess I'm going to have to go right, but as we learned, no, left or right, either one of these choices would have led you here to this 10 of Swords anyway, and the whole situation we're in. So the Libra energy now is saying we need to make choices that are different than the choices we have made before. It's not just about going left or going right. No, I think we're going up. We're transcending, right? We're tapping into that higher wisdom discernment, that intuition, the guidance from your higher self, and we're making adjustments in our lives. We're making some changes that are going to be very good for us. And I think that, that brings us over to the path of the serpent. But this card is about balance. This is maybe saying that in our life we've been a little bit too heavily skewed toward the intellect. Rather, we don't want to be the other way, where we're way too heavy in our feelings, and our feelings are driving the car every day. But having that balance relatively, it's never going to be perfect, obviously, but having a pretty decent balance, or trying to restore that balance, is giving us a much more clear vision of the choices in front of me and how I need to evaluate my life. This is that card of evaluation, judging the relative value of something in your life. We're not judging anything's intrinsic value, but its relative value to me. How does it feel to me? How does it look to me? What is the right choice that I need to make? And to do that, we have to have that subjective, emotional feeling experience. Okay, we also need the objective. And here is the Hierophant in position 7. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It really helps out the channel, and, the summer months are pretty bad on YouTube, if you haven't noticed. Right? Things kind of go down a little bit. So I appreciate all of the support, all of the help, and really a shout out to everybody that's donated to the channel. It really does help out, because things are drying up a little bit on YouTube in the summer months. It tends to be seasonal, I guess. Anyway, the persona, position 7, this is the objective view of yourself. This is how other people see you. And this is a wise person. This is somebody that's been through it. This is somebody that isn't just like, oh, I got my college degree and guess what? I'm an expert now. No, this is somebody that's lived. This is the hermit after the hermit has come back from their travels. Right? The hermit is off trail. The hermit is cutting their way through the jungle, returns to the community or whatever, to the village, right, to the town, and says, let me tell you what I saw out there. Yeah. He kind of looks like the hermit in a way, but the hermit that's returned. And the hermit, it says, boy, have I got some stories for you. And this is how other people see you. This is how you're sort of project. This is the objective view of yourself, okay? It's not necessarily other people see you as like a haggard old hermit that's come back from a journey, no. But it's your objective view of yourself. You are a wise one. You are one that has been through a lot. And you didn't just say, okay, you're not Queen of Wands, right? You just says, okay, movie's over, what's for lunch? No, you didn't just quickly jump from the old situation to the new, because the Queen of Wands doesn't want to feel. Okay? The Queen of Wands is not a friend of the water energy, let's say. So if we had the Queen of Wands, it would really be an indication that you're not processing your feelings, and that's going to hurt you. Okay? You're missing out on a whole chunk of the experience by ignoring those feelings. Because that's the Queen of Wands, says, I don't want to feel anything. I just want to be in the moment doing the thing. Let me just go on to the next task so I don't have to feel the ending. Okay? But you're in that Queen of Cups energy. You're feeling the ending. And it's empowering for you. It's giving you the full richness of the experience. It's turning you into a Hierophant, turning you into an expert. Right? This is someone who has been initiated into life. Okay? And I think that this is, regardless of what choice you made back here, this would be the result. If you handle the ending in the proper way. Okay, you went through an ordeal, and you're processing that, and you're understanding how you feel, and you're allowing that feeling to then water you and grow your life and put you in touch with your higher wisdom and your discernment, and you're being initiated into the mysteries of life. And so this is how we see ourselves subjectively. I see myself, oh God, I'm so emotional right now. I'm almost embarrassed. Nah, don't be embarrassed. That's the way. That's the path to the future, right? This is how you appear to the rest of us, as a hierophant, as somebody that has been initiated into the mysteries, somebody with stories to share, somebody with wisdom and knowledge, a sage. Okay? Someone that has been through an ordeal and has emerged the other side gloriously. Now the next card is the 9 of Pentacles. That's a card of growth. That's a card of the visible signs of progress. And I think that your choices now, the next choices in your life, are going to prove themselves correct by the physical results that you see. The 9 of Pentacles is that card of gain. Okay? Physical, financial, mental, emotional, spiritual, creative. 3, 3, 3 gives us the 9. Okay? It's the visible sign of progress in every dimension of your life. Now, whether this is something that's mostly physical, financial, or mental, emotional, or spiritual, creative, it influences every other dimension, you see. This could be a financial problem we're talking about. It has spiritual implications, emotional implications, and even health implications. Everything is everything. Everything is interconnected, as we see on the tree of life. Every sphere is connected with every other sphere, directly or indirectly. And that means that even something that is not remotely spiritual or emotional affects us spiritually and emotionally. Everything is connected. All levels of being are connected with each other, okay? So regardless of what this is, it has a lot of effects. And I think that your higher wisdom and discernment choices, you're going to see a lot of improvement in every aspect of your life. A lot of gain, a lot of growth, okay? Spirit says to light incense and let that scent ground you. Okay, I use just kind of your basic Nag Champa. That's my favorite. And that tends to ground me. And I think that's because a long time ago, many, many years ago, right, when I was, 20, 21, I started meditating. And so a long time. And that was the first incense that I would use. I would burn some Nag Champa. A friend gave me some Nag, said, here, some incense, and it kind of picked it for me, right? Because I didn't know anything about incense at that time. And well, I guess I did a little bit know about incense, but just what you find in a head shop, you know what I mean? But I started burning Nag Champa every time I would meditate. And then now it becomes something that as soon as I smell Nag Champa, I'm in like a meditative state. It's like I've just instantly, it's wonderful. But I think that's helpful for you too. Spirit's telling me to tell you, burn the incense, let the scent ground you, okay? And what's the connection with the Pacific Northwest for you? Pacific Northwest United States, Washington, Oregon, that area for you? There's a connection there for you. I don't know, maybe you're from, I don't know if you have a connection to Seattle or something like that. But this is in the position of your relationship with the world. This is kind of what you're looking at in your life, around you, outside of you, what you're looking at. You're seeing growth. You're seeing that your choices are making a difference. And you're going to know that these choices are good choices because you're going to see that your physical, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual creative dimensions are growing, improving. There is gain. It's working. So I know that this process is working because I can see it. I can experience it. Okay? And how do you see spiritual growth? Well, I mean, that's, we're not splitting hairs here, okay? But we're going to notice. We're going to notice the improvement. But what we have to do is overcome this obstacle. The Prince of Cups to the Knight of Pentacles. We have to tap into those emotions because that brings us the authenticity. And the Knight of Pentacles is looking at the future and ready to begin that path, you see. And this is the obstacle, or this is the anxiety, is now moving forward. So once we process this, we have to overcome any kind of anxiety about doing it again, about moving on. We don't want to get stuck here, because we're just creating ghosts and zombies and things, monsters and stuff being created here. We don't want to linger here. We want to process, we want to do what we need to do, and we want to move forward with higher wisdom and discernment. We don't want to compromise our authenticity. So we need to recognize that by tapping into who we are emotionally, processing all of that, getting in touch with that deeper emotional body, the intuition, all that water energy, right? That reflection even. We're understanding who we are, why we're here. We're gaining in authenticity. And by moving forward now with the Knight of Pentacles, we're able to see the future. The Knight of Pentacles is having a vision of their best life, the vision of their paradise, right? The big rock candy mountain that's out there for all of us. And is now saying, I see that for myself. I see that future that I want. And so we extrapolate on that. We sort of reverse engineer it. We work our way backwards. And I know how to begin. That's like we're seeing the long-term goals. We're seeing the 10 of Pentacles. And we're saying, I know how to get there. And I'm going to get there. I can see it in front of me. And I'm taking that next step. And I'm doing so authentically. I'm doing so with full awareness of who I am and what I want, what I'm made of, where I'm going. I can feel it and I can see it. And I think that we've used the emotions to tunnel out of a mental prison. I wonder if the mystery card is going to be the Tower. And of course, the Destiny is another beginning. Okay, we have the 10 of Swords. Now we have the Ace of Pentacles. So we have that return to unity, and then we have the beginning of the next cycle for you. But the Ace to me is not just the beginnings, taking the foot on the next path, stepping onto the path again, and taking step number 1. To me, the Ace of Pentacles is sometimes the summit of the mountain. Okay? Kind of represents the attainment of the goal itself. So I feel like it really is it's an indication that as we get into a more of a sense of wholeness, this is also, it's a perfect circle, right? Shout out to Maynard and the gang. We have this sense of wholeness. And if we don't allow these emotions in and process things deeply the way you are now, we're not achieving wholeness. And we're going to be operating from a purely intellectual left brain kind of thing, purely rational, logical, and just kind of in terms of even our influence that coming in from other people. But with this sense of wholeness, we are more autonomous. We feel like we have greater agency. I would like to see some fire energy in the mystery card. So maybe the Tower would be good. That'd be some good martial energy. Or perhaps the Emperor. Yeah. I feel like this is us taking a step on the path toward the summit of the mountain, knowing that we're in a much better position now, that we've tapped into something true and pure in ourselves, and we know the next course for us. We're more equipped, in a way, to make our decisions. Yeah. So I think this is perfect. I want to look at the mystery card, position 11. The guide represents the voice of the silence within you, and is usually a message from Spirit, and sometimes reveals a character quality that we need to develop in order to move forward. And I wonder if that's going to be the Emperor. Sense of agency, autonomy, fortified ego. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see what we have. We have the 9 of Swords. Very interesting. Because the 9 of Swords, now not what we were expecting, right? There's more Swords energy. This is a warning. This is a big warning that says, do not get imprisoned by your own thoughts. Because it is in this position where we will create those ghosts. This is a card of pain. This is a card of cruelty and misery. right? Lamentation, losing sleep at night. Okay? And maybe this is kind of the way forward. Like, look, maybe we're going to have to lose a few nights' sleep. We're going to have to maybe feel the pain of the ending. Okay? And maybe that's what this card is saying, is that, look, we can open ourselves up, we can feel, we can sit with this feeling, we can understand it, we can accept it, we can bring it in, and give it a big hug, and say, okay, let's work together, let's move forward. Okay. This is the card, this is a Mars, it is Mars, so there's that fiery energy to it. Like the tower, right? It's kind of that Mars energy. But this is the very intentional separating of ourselves from something. Okay? Mars and Gemini, it's kind of tearing something apart, the pain of separation. I think that is really what needs to take place to move forward. Right now, feel the feelings. Eventually, I think we're going to have to pull ourselves up and use that Mars energy to kind of lift ourselves up by our bootstraps. Okay, and move forward. But this is a process. Again, don't let anybody rush you through it. Make sure that you know when is the right moment to move on. Because it's maybe a fine line between I'm processing my emotions and now I'm just lingering in it and wallowing in it and creating ghosts and zombies, right? And other creepy things. So I think that this is the veil of the sort of curtain of pain that we have to go through, the pain of an ending. Okay, and the only way forward is to go through this. If not, I feel like we're kind of just circling back around to the past, and we're gonna try a different route. But we haven't learned from this, and so we're going to end up making the other. So I went left, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to circle back around to the crossroads, and I'm going to take a right turn instead. You're going to end up exactly where you are until you go through this, until you feel the feelings, and we understand, why do I feel this way? Where is this feeling coming from? What is it teaching me? What does it mean? We try to understand it. We realize that our choices now, left or right, was just two paths circling around to the same point. Okay, I think this is not easy, but it is necessary. All right, now we're going to do an extended reading as well. If you want to stick around, we'll do an I Ching hexagram, we'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner. There's a link down below in the video description. New readings for Aries Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.